what we're talking about is you're mostly cold composting, right? Like you're just
Yes.
letting that stuff sit and break down.
Yes.
And, that's definitely a great way to use it because, I mean, other than, you got to keep it upright if it's not entirely full. But, even if you do fill it all the way, you could just let that material sit and break down. They can also make great hot composting bins because the material that's inside is so easy to remove. The sides of that bin just come apart. Like there's little latches on it, and then you can open it up and then just turn all of that material and put it back into the same bin, even.
Ladies and gentlemen, grab your gloves and get your compost ready. Stepping into the ring is the perennial powerhouse, the sultan of soil, the beast of the beds, where permaculture reigns, food grows wild, community roots run deep, and yes, the garden punts hit hard. Freedom starts in the soil. This is the Guerrilla Gardening Show.
Welcome back to the Guerrilla Gardening Show. I'm Mike with Mike's in the Garden. Here, as always, with Sam from Central Florida Abundance. What's happening, Sam?
What's going on, Mike? What's going on, y'all? It's good to be back into another episode. And tonight, I'm hoping that I learned something and maybe get a little inspired through what we're talking about because it's definitely a task that I slack off on. Uh, and that's going to be composting. And I can't wait to hear, your experiences. We've had a guest on previously that did talk to us about one type of composting. Um, Pablo from Eco Hustle talking to us about worm composting. Unfortunately, I just don't have the bandwidth to take care of another animal, and
For
so
sure.
worm composting that just has never worked out for me. Uh, and I gotta be honest, I'm definitely a fan of the chuck it out the back door into the garden method. A lot of
Well,
times
you
I'll
you have a banana circle, right? So is that where it goes, or do you actually put it just anywhere in the garden?
pretty much anywhere in the garden. I try not, I mean, if I am chucking something out, I will avoid my annual beds, uh, just because I don't want to damage any of the plants or encourage, you know, too large of animals digging around in there. Usually what I do is try to get any of the food scraps, and I'm talking about all vegetable matter and some grease sometimes, because what else do you do with that stuff? Uh, it goes into my biomass rows. So the rows that I have of Napier grass and pigeon peas and moringas that are just, super hardy, super established plants, and they keep the ground pretty covered. So when I, push this stuff in there, it's not really visible from anywhere. And I've never had any odors or anything. I'm sure the animals eat a lot of the stuff that I throw out, and that's fine.
Yeah, I don't
But
have any
there
videos, but
are more direct ways to compost, and some of them are a little more appealing on video than me throwing things out the back door.
well, perfect segue, Sam. Yeah, this is a compost GeoBin. We'll put a link down below where you can purchase one of these. Um, we have
Maybe I'll grab one too. I think these are the best way of hot composting. I've seen many people with them, and one of these days I'm just gonna have to get some for myself.
So real quick, we have lots of carbon in here. We've got the ripped up paper that you get with your Amazon packaging. You can see a flat of egg carton up at the top there, and then what looks like we threw up in a Chipotle bowl, um, which is not, but probably appropriate for Chipotle because
It
I don't
looks
know.
like the
Sometimes,
Chipotle ate a hole in the bottom
uh,
of the bowl, and just that grease.
sometimes sometimes you need something quick and you're like, this is like maybe healthy, but it's a ton of oil.
No, I get it. And this in our society, sometimes you just gotta treat yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Treat yourself to Montezuma's revenge. But yeah, we've got you can see down the bottom there, we've got some several day old banana peels, lots of banana peels in there, some potatoes that spent too long in the bag. And then this is a stick that's actually keeping it upright. Because
Oh,
one
okay.
one thing you'll learn with these geo bins is structurally they're amazing. You can shape them, very narrow, cylindrical, or you can go really wide, which from what I've heard and read, the wider the better. Um, at least you can fit more mass in there, and I guess it breaks down easier than if it's compact. So, um, but as we're talking about low maintenance compost, which I think we're going to name this episode, this is our slider right off our kitchen, and so we wanted to compost as close as we could make it, where it wasn't, super intrusive in the backyard. So, it's probably a 20-30 steps from the kitchen, and then we're right there at the compost. Um, won't get too much into the uh, forget even what these are called, but
Oh, the tumblers. I
the
got a question.
tumblers. Yeah,
So the GeoBin, real quick.
yeah,
Um, what we're talking about is you're mostly cold composting, right? Like you're just
yes,
letting that stuff sit and break down.
yes,
And, that's definitely a great way to use it because, I mean, other than, you got to keep it upright if it's not entirely full. But, even if you do fill it all the way, you could just let that material sit and break down. They can also make great hot composting bins because the material that's inside is so easy to remove. The sides of that bin just come apart. Like there's little latches on it, and then you can open it up and then just turn all of that material and put it back into the same bin even.
yeah.
Um,
I do have a video I'll play shortly, where it has me breaking, it's time lapse. I know one of those time lapse. It's me literally breaking down the geo bin, setting it up right next to it. You have your compost sitting where the geo bin was, and then yeah, I just fork it
oh,
into
nice.
the other one. So this whole
I can't
area,
wait to see that. But
this
that, I mean,
whole
cold composting, definitely good.
yeah,
And so we I'll let you talk about your Tumblr, but I'll let you know and I'll let everybody know I don't put any weight in composting tumblers unless it takes a whole mechanism to turn it. You mentioned the size of the compost bin earlier having an effect on how well it breaks down. Your compost tumblers are never going to be very large. And ideally, you'd have a container that was a cubic yard, which would be 3 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet, which these geobins, they're 3 feet tall. And so if you connected two of them together, you could have a nice, I don't know, circular 6 foot diameter circle. Maybe that's the same. Uh, but with the tumblers, you're lucky if they're, 3 feet long. I have seen one that was super effective, but it was as big as two of those GeoBins put together, and they had a giant crank and gears on the side, and I mean it was like a full body thing to turn
yeah,
that.
yeah. It was like
And that
battle ropes
worked.
at the gym just to get the thing to turn.
Yeah. And I mean probably less work than you do when you turned your compost manually.
Sure.
So, I mean, there's that. But it's not a go outside. It's like, oh yeah. I feel like most of the time when people have the tumblers, they just look at it and they're like, am I doing it right? Did I turn it enough? Is it breaking down?
Yeah.
Uh,
I feel like the
and
tumblers aren't really worth it. The time and what you really get out of it. I mean, the reason we have these geo bins and, we're talking about low maintenance cold composting is these are just sitting there. I might turn them once or twice a year. Um, and, I'm not putting in a whole bunch of inputs aside from the one out right outside the kitchen.
mhm.
Um, but um, yeah, I
What's
mean
your
the
return
tumbler.
like on
Uh,
the geo bins?
Not something I've really tracked. However, this year was the first time that I've busted all of these down and actually used what was in there. And it's been sitting at least for 12 to 18 months. Um, and I do have a video of what some of the soil looks like. Um,
Okay.
but I was able to, so I keep these along
Wow,
the
is this
backside
fresh
of my
mulch?
fence. Fresh mulch. Yeah,
Wow, man, that looks great.
it is. Yeah, days old, days old. So I keep these along my back fence where I'm planting most of my trees. We got a Barbados cherry that was dead. We cut it back and now it's coming back there. We got the loquat up the top there. We just passed by a moringa. Um, but this bed here, I had one of the GeoBins in this bed over the last few months, and knowing that I was going to prepare this bed in this way, and so I just mixed it, transported it to this area, and just let it sit there for a few months. And then when I was ready, I just busted it down and spread it out and built this bed around it. So, um, but kind of around this pool here and inside this, well, actually outside this trellis over here, I kind of reworked the outside of this trellis and spread. So probably I had maybe three full geo bins that fit this bed back here, this bed, and around the front and back side of this that trellis tunnel that we could see here. So um, decent return.
Nice.
It just took maybe 2 years to get to that point. So
It does take a long time, and I mean, the thing I want to instill in everybody is it's all about the size of your pile. You know, I mean, at a certain size, it won't matter if you get bigger, but most people aren't going to get to that level. You know, you should aim for at least a cubic yard of material, and if you can fill that up, you know, at once, you're probably going to have some decent compost in the center and at the bottom, you know, 6 to 8 months, which is, you know, still a little bit of a wait. If you go slower, if you or go slower at filling up the bin, it'll take longer, but you're still going to end up with really good usable material. Now, this is crazy because I'm sure this whole bin looked like the top as you filled it up.
oh yeah, I mean you can
And
even see
and
the
now
the
it's
layering
just
almost. Yeah,
wow. And that's compost, people. You know, that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to turn things that used to be alive back into soil. You know, there's a reason it looks like that. Compost is not soil, but it is the first step to creating soil. Good luck having soil without any organic matter in it.
yeah. And I guess this wasn't the video I was thinking of, but um,
That
I
was a
do.
great way to take it off, though. It looked so dry, like it was just
Yeah,
all stuck together. But
yeah.
that
I
also
mean,
shows, you know,
they're
how
pretty
easy it
perfect for that.
is to get the material out of those bins. Like you just unwrap it. I think if anybody out there is familiar with Jeff Lawton, um, you know, I mean, if you're not, you need to definitely go look
Yeah,
up one of his
familiarize yourself
videos when you
instantly.
finish this. But he does something very similar just with like cattle panel fencing, and he'll take some fencing and make a circle with it, and then I think zip tie it or something. And then, you know, you fill it up, wait a week, cut, open it up, flip it, put it back in, and then wait another week. And then if you have multiple, you can just keep going. But you can do the same thing with the geo bins. And I guess I don't know how much they cost. Let's see.
$40,
Uh,
I think.
oh, that's not bad.
Yeah,
Yeah, you probably couldn't buy. I mean, I know that like a 16-foot piece of cattle panel fencing is going to cost you 30, and who knows how much zip ties are these days. No, but it'd probably be comparable, and this would be less intimidating. You can even get one from our Lord and Savior Jeffrey Bezos, and they're only $35.
yeah. There you go. So this is probably a good uh, example of it, busting it down and stirring it up. How simple it is to just break these down. I mean, look at all that organic matter there. I mean, it just looks great.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
you're putting it back in to finish even more. And I mean, you know, I think in our worm video, you mentioned that, you have worms. Sometimes you may throw them in here with a cold system like this. That's like the ideal to put worms in. If you're turning it once a year, let the worms turn through it the rest of the year.
yeah,
Um, you may lose some when you flip it, but just keep some eggs in there. I'm sure they'll reproduce. I don't know. Pablo will tell us.
yeah.
Drop a comment, Pablo.
And one thing that I've always done when I'm setting up a new compost bin, you can see I've got the paper down here, paper or cardboard, layer the bottom. I guess I didn't do it in this video, but you should be adding water as you start to layer. So water in the bottom layer, get that cardboard or paper there nice and wet. Start adding in a couple layers of compost, wet it again, more compost, wet it again. Um, but I've really liked these. And in that first video where they were all along the fence, my strategy is I'm going to let these things sit where eventually I'll plant a tree or a pineapple or
Oh,
something,
yeah.
some type of perennial plant. So when I'm ready to put that plant or tree in the ground, that compost is just, I'm going to move the compost, but the earth will still have a bunch of nutrients there. So
Oh, yeah. The best soil is always right under your compost pile.
yeah,
That's usually the problem is like, oh, well, this is the best place on the whole farm, but we compost here. So, being able to move where your compost pile is, that's another huge benefit um, of, I mean, using some type of mobile small scale compost bins. I'll let everybody know I have some failed compost bin projects out here on the property. It just never seemed valuable enough to complete. And so now it just grows sweet potatoes. Just tons of sweet potatoes come out of there. And, that's fine too. So, having something portable, it doesn't need to be over engineered. Get some chicken wire. You can use that.
chicken wire, yeah.
It just needs to be able to hold enough material to actually get that density and that decomposition process starting. So, don't spend your whole life savings on a compost bin.
Yeah, no.
Buy 20 cheap ones instead. That's really the goal.
And this is just a bonus for, if we have inspired you out there to get a compost GeoBin and start composting, maybe we're a little late being in May, but
It's never too late.
well, what I was going to say is a
Okay.
lot of times your neighbors will bag up
Oh,
leaves for you. And so this was a sycamore tree. And so I took all those bags of leaves. And so that's 5 bags of leaves that probably went in 2 or 3 separate compost geo bins, but was able to layer those in there as we stirred up the material. So um, there's lots of ways to get free compost. I did a video once. Let's see, what were some of the other ways? When you get stuff in the mail, a credit card, a bank trying to sell you something, they'll give you that little piece of paper in there that, has your personal information on it. Well, if you don't want to put that back in the trash, just tear it up in pieces, throw it out in your compost.
do you use a shredder for any of your paper products, or do you tear them up?
Um, we usually just tear them up for the sake of convenience, but I've shredded mostly for my worm bin, so that I'll
Ah,
layer
yeah,
the
that
shredded
makes
paper in
sense.
the worm bin. But I do think,
Definitely more important there.
yeah, I do think shredding. And I'm curious, Sam, if you, I know you have a little wood chipper. Do you ever put pieces of cardboard in there?
I have never tried that.
Okay,
I I would imagine it would because it works on leaves pretty
okay,
well, and that's soft. But maybe I run that next time because I do have a lot of cardboard that I'm using for tarping right now,
yeah,
and I could just chip it all up. That could be
yeah, yeah,
cool. But then I'll
yeah.
have to get the tape off. And I watched our cardboard episode, and some guy told me I could just leave all the tape in my garden. So
You
no,
could, or you
no.
could be like me tomorrow night for my second time in a week. Go to Walmart, hit the paper towel and toilet paper aisle. Last time I went, I was in and out of there in like 15 minutes because some kid had already broken them all down and had them on his like wheeler to go back into the. And I was like, dude, can
He
I
knew you
just
were
take
coming.
these? Yeah. He's like, ah. And then as I'm filling them up, he kept coming back with more boxes. So
Huh.
I filled up a carriage and it was probably 10 minutes. And then I just went to a few other aisles to see what else I could grab. But that was probably the quickest in and out I've had at Wally World. So
If you're curious how Mike gets all this cardboard, check out our episode on
yeah.
free cardboard. There's some life hacks in there, but you know, the free leaves and all of that, it comes every year, y'all. So if you're, just getting started, start working on acquiring your compost bins now so that next year when they come, you can just throw them straight in. But
Well, even better. Here's another tip with your free leaves. You poke some holes in it, okay? Even though
oh,
it's
okay.
even though it's going to breathe a little bit, poke some holes in it, and then it'll sit there and start to develop leaf mold. So if you let it sit for a while, I mean that's what you want in your compost to start breaking some of that down.
Just make sure the bags, because I've collected probably, I don't know, a couple thousand bags of leaves over the years, and not all leaf bags are created equal. And sometimes they'll just
Disintegrate.
disintegrate. Yeah, you'll go to pick it up and it's like, oh, well, the leaves are here now.
Yeah. I have plastic leaves and I have organic
yeah.
leaves.
But you can just compost them right in place, use some of those bags. And that is great for having a fungally dominated compost. I would definitely, the Soil Food Web book by Dr. Elaine Ingham talks a lot about the different microbial communities that you can breed in your compost. And when you get really into it, you can actually tailor your compost to have, you know, uh, specific variations of microbes depending on, what kind of plants it's going to be going towards. And so we're not going to get into all of that now, uh, but, you know, maybe we will one day, but there's lots of information out there if you want, a deeper education. Really, what we want to show people today is that it's easy to compost. You should not be throwing your vegetable kitchen scraps into the landfill. There is absolutely no reason. There's plenty of ways to, I mean, like Mike mentioned earlier, I do have a banana pit that is really meant to have all the food scraps chucked into it. And that, you know, is having your food scraps around a living system, not in the full sun, maybe a little buried in some mulch, you're not going to have that odor and obtrusiveness that people imagine when we talk about just, throwing stuff around. And we see what Mike's system looks like. Having those things in your backyard, people wouldn't think twice about it. You could probably put
No,
them in your front yard.
yeah, and I know like here in Orlando, there's O-Town Compost. They work with
Yes.
people as well as businesses to gather compost. I have some of my neighbors give me compost. And I just tell them throw all your food scraps in a 1 gallon Ziploc and put it in your freezer. And when it gets too big and you don't have room for it, just call me up. I'll come over and get it. Um,
You're
and
the you're the new O Town. You're
yeah, yeah,
the no, but what they're doing is great. And I mean, you know, that's just the way forward. We waste too much municipal resources trying to process stuff that would just break down on its own. Like this, why
yeah,
send this stuff to a landfill when we
yeah.
could just
This
put
is
it in
what
our
your
yard?
carriage should look like when you leave Wally World. Um, This is, and there's no stickers on it. Up, I like that one's good. Tiny sticker on it.
But
Most,
no
most,
tape.
yeah, most, if not all of this is sticker free. You can see it's a little tiny bit of glue, but
People will
um,
ask about the glue. Is that safe? Should I put it in my garden? There's, you know, if you live in a pristine wilderness, probably not. But if you live in any sort of urban area, I can guarantee you that there's plenty of toxic stuff in your soil and in the air all around you. So
sure,
wash your vegetables. Uh, but other than that, you know, don't dump petroleum oils on them. But plants will not absorb things into their fruit that is not meant to be there. As far as leaf matter and roots, you may want to be more cautious, but as long as it's not heavy metals, usually you're safe. And if you got heavy metals in your soil, you got a lot of more work to do.
yeah, you
Plant
get
some hemp.
you get a lot of you get a lot of other problems. I think this one's a time lapse. This actually shows this is the start of it. This is like the unboxing of the GeoBin. So very
Okay.
simple, multiple clips. And in the beginning, I didn't keep them wide enough, which, you know, again, just do you. But from what I've read and seen, like a really wide GeoBin will
So
help
what would you do?
break
Like
it down.
connect two of these, or do you just buy a bigger one?
Well, if you stretch this to as far as it'll go, it's pretty close to a cubic foot, a cubic
Oh, so
yard rather.
it's
Yeah.
elastic,
No, but
or
see all
it's
these
just
little holes here?
yeah.
You can make this go really wide because if we watch
Hmm.
this again, you can
I
kind
want,
of
have you ever
see.
tried like T-posts maybe on the sides to hold it up if you had it real big?
Yeah, I do have some T-posts. Someone was throwing some away. They were like brand new. A couple of them were bent, so I think they just gave up. But it's
People are
like
silly.
six
Just
or eight T-posts, and
hammer that out.
they're only like 2.5 feet tall. They're not very tall, but they
But
were
that's
they
probably
were
fine.
brand new, not any rust on them at all. And clearly, I'm like, this was somebody who tried hammering two of these in the ground, and they got
With
upset.
a hammer, probably.
Probably, yeah. And
Hit a
you
rock.
could tell where they like bent a little bit, and they were just like, forget it, throwing it out with the trash. And so
That's
one
crazy.
one man's trash ends up in my backyard. But
Hey, it's just like the leaves, you know, that's a very, very valuable resource that people
for
just
sure.
chuck out.
But yeah, as this stretches out, you can see,
I
yeah. So
see it's
you can,
overlapped right now. Like you
yeah,
have
yeah,
the,
yeah.
yeah, okay.
So I think to its full capacity, it's a cubic yard, if not pretty close. So, but
Well,
it's also like the wider it is, the more flimsy it is. So
yeah,
when you
well,
when
that's
it
why you
is
need
kind of
them
overlapped,
T-posts.
yeah, yeah, you need
You need to,
some day old T posts. And
hey, GeoBen, if you want to, sponsor us or something, we'll keep promoting you. I like quality products.
yeah, I
Maybe
mean,
you could make it out of something other than petroleum based. You know, we could get like a, I don't know, mushroom mycelium compost bin, lasts for 5 years and then breaks down with your compost.
yeah, yeah, like one of those what is it, like a woven pot kind of, or the like those earthy pots, something similar
Yeah, you could
maybe.
do like hemp fibers. I've
Yeah,
seen like some of the woven pots are also like plastic, but I'm sure there's got to be better materials out there, y'all.
yeah,
Somebody's creative. Just make one.
yeah, yeah. I like the hemp idea. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, we find somebody with heavy metals in their soil and we get them growing hemp, and then we'll harvest all that and grow our new geobins.
yeah, yeah. Cool. Um, so my mulberries have taken off. My two mulberry cuttings are now little baby trees, and one of them was in that video there, but um, I don't know. Maybe we do a separate video on mulberries in the future because I know you know a lot more about them than I do, and I don't know how many varieties there are, 30 different varieties or something like that.
Oh, more like 300, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, let's do it. And I mean, if y'all want to see, a more deep dive into specifically mulberries, because we did a video where we encompassed all the Florida berries, and you know, but mulberries, there's so many, they're so diverse, and they're such a great tree for Central Florida. I'm actually gonna go pick some up just in a couple days, a couple different varieties. So maybe I'll get some clips at the nursery, and we can let y'all know what the possibilities are out there.
Yeah, excellent. Sam, tell everyone where they can find you and your consulting services.
Absolutely. If you guys want a consultation, you can reach out to Central Florida Abundance. I'm not wearing the shirt right now, threw me off. Uh, but you can reach me on Facebook or Instagram. Shoot me an email, shoot me a direct message. I'll come out. We can talk about your property, figure out your goals, what is obtainable in your circumstances, and then I can get out there, help you plan them, and help you take care of them.
Excellent. And you can follow me, Mike's in the Garden. All the logos will be going by the screen, so you can head over there, and it's just too much to say. Head over there and follow along. See what kind of
Do the things. I'm distracted by your shirt.
yeah,
And now I know we need a shirt on your site saying composting is effing around and finding out. And basically everything. We just need to like all the
yeah,
gardening things. Pruning. Pruning is just effing around and finding out. Y'all don't be so afraid.
yeah. Well, David the Good had
You'll
a
do
had a great
better next
shirt.
time.
Compost your enemies. I like that one.
Yes,
But yeah,
compost the rich.
if you want to get a uh effing around and finding out shirt or some other cool garden puns as well as some silly shirts, you can head on over to the Etsy shop. That'll be going across your screen now. So thank you and help support the show. All right, Sam, we'll
We'll
end it
catch
there,
up
but
on the next one.
I'm going to show you real quick this mulberry. So I know we got a few seconds left here, but